Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! This happened yesterday and we have a meeting about it later today. I work for a library in a small rural town. We have a policy: if anyone calls or comes in looking for someone, we're not allowed to tell them if they are here or not, or where they can find them. This is for cases if someone is looking to find someone or a random person is looking for a child that may or may not be theirs. Now, with that logic in place, let's set the scene. I was working circulation last night, and around 6 p.m. we get a call, and I answer. Hello, this is a non-county library. How may I help you? Yes, I'm looking for my daughter. She gives a brief description of the child. She should be there. She came in with another lady. Sorry, ma'am, we are not allowed to tell you who's here or not, as we cannot verify that you are who you are claimed to be. What? We cannot tell you if a child is here because we cannot verify you are the parent. What the hell? She pauses and gets distant. I hear her yell to somebody in the background. They won't tell if she's there because they can't verify I'm the parent of my own daughter. Then she abruptly hangs up the phone. Since we're the only two there closing for the night, I tell my co-worker we might get an angry lady in looking for a child. She already knows we can't tell her anything. What's important is that she's at reference while I'm at work. She basically looks after study rooms and computer labs while I look at the stacks so no one can watch the desk. And sure enough, around 10 to 15 minutes later, the entitled mother hops into the place. Where is my daughter? This is a library, ma'am. You need to lower your voice or you need to leave. And I told you on the phone, we are not allowed to tell you who is here, but you can have a look around. Don't tell me to lower my voice. I'm looking for my daughter, you jerk. Now where is she? Again, I cannot tell you. Now lower your voice and stop cussing, or I will be forced to call the police to escort you out of the building. Little side note, our library is right next to the police station, like directly across. We're neighbors. The entitled mother gets quiet and hops around the place. We are not that big, so it takes about 5 minutes to look everywhere a patron can be. Once she's finished, she comes back, and this is where crap really hits the fan. I couldn't find my daughter out there. I'm gonna check back there. She points at the entrance to the staff-only back room for desk workers. Ma'am, you cannot go back there. There is only 2 of us working and I can't allow you back there in the first place. It could be a liability. My daughter could be back there. Unlikely, as you have to have keys to open that door. Ma'am, the final answer is no. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. You are being disruptive and disturbing the peace. No, I'm calling the cops. You are holding my daughter hostage. What the? The entitled mother proceeds to actually call the police while I sit there dumbfounded. About 5 minutes later, 3 police cars arrive for a retrieval of a child who wasn't there. As they walk in, the entitled mother starts screeching. They have my daughter locked up in the back and won't let her out. The police officer looks confused because we're a public library, so I have to explain what's happening and unlock the staff only for them to search just in case. The entitled mother smirks and says, "Was that so hard, you idiot?" The police officer tells her, "Lady, there is no one back here. Do you know where your daughter was last?" "She was here last, and this jerk wouldn't tell me if she was here or not." Our policy is we can't tell you if someone is here, but you are free to look around. We do this to prevent people looking for their drug dealer or looking for a specific person to fight, or in the case of children, so they are not abducted. We can't confirm you are the parent. Photos do not help because we do not know if they are not allowed to see the child because of visitation issues from divorce or a loss of custody. In this case, it was the very last option. The police officer just shakes her head. Did he tell you this already? Yes, but… She starts to choke up. At this point, a woman and a girl walk in with snacks and a drink from the gas station a couple blocks down. The good stepmom started to yell. "Why the hell are you here? Did you come here to see X? The child's name? Are you insane? We have discussed this many times with the girl's father. You can't be popping up trying to see the kid." "But I miss my baby. I wanted to see her." Well, you lost that right when you left her in a car to buy drugs and you disappeared for hours. You are lucky she's even here. The entitled mother starts to bawl. The officers split up and talked to the stepmom, while the others detained the entitled mother to see if she needs to be arrested. It was really crazy. I mean, we get a lot of weird people who come in, but by far this was the most exciting. One day when I traveled into inner Beijing, when my dad asked me to grab us some snapper from the market for dinner, when I got there it was busy as usual, and being practically the only non-Asian person there, I copped a lot of stares. It doesn't faze me anymore, but back then I hated the stares but got over it. I found some really nice snapper and purchased it for a nice price. As I was leaving, this woman ran up to me. She wasn't Asian and had a hard American accent. "Excuse me, but aren't you meant to be somewhere else?" No. "You are not from here." "And your point is?" "Judging from your accent, you're not from here either." "Well, duh. Look, missy, I'm going to have to get a police officer since you shouldn't be here." "Go ahead. They will see I'm on a working visa and let me go." "Just you wait." So we waited for a few minutes, and funny enough, there were officers around us. She just hadn't noticed. I tell her I'm late and need to get home, to which she grabs me by my arm and puts me on the ground, knee over my face, and it hurts a lot. I started yelling for help and she started going on about how I'm being detained. What the hell? Few of those officers came over and pulled her off me and helped me up. This idiot kept trying to tell them in English that I'm an immigrant and need to be deported. My Mandarin isn't the best, but I explained to the officers that she assaulted me for no reason. They let me go, and last I saw her, she had roughly 7 officers huddling around her. When I told my dad what happened, he couldn't believe it, and we ended up laughing at the absurdity. Also, that snapper was amazing. Hi there. This is my first time ever posting here cause usually I ignore entitled parents and their expired milk attitudes, but today was different. Never thought I'd be physically and verbally attacked over a slushie. Context: I work at an entertainment venue, so you can imagine how many entitled people are attracted here. So it's a Pride Day on Saturday in May in Texas. The sun's out and it's heating up hard. The days go as usual and I open my till to make sales. As the minutes go by, I see an angry lady and a kid who looks like she was done crying. We'll call them Miss Saggy or Karen if you prefer, a little girl. I step and do the usual greeting. Here we greet our guest as my sir/lady for adults and young squire/princess for the kids. I say, "Good morning, my lady, how may I help you?" "Don't lady me, you call me ma'am." "I am sorry, ma'am, that's what I've been trained to call all guests that enter here." I say with an awkward smile. "Whatever." She proceeds to shove a voucher for a free announcement during the show, demanding, not asking, but demanding I do this for her. Me not knowing how to do that, tell her where to go. She scoffs at me and proceeds to whine about it. "But I'm already here. You gotta do this for me, it's your job." Yes, she extended job. "It's for my daughter." "I'm sorry, my lady, but you're gonna have to go down there to where I told you, cause I have not been trained in that yet." Karen, now annoyed, did a sigh, bent down and spoke to her daughter. "Honey, I'm sorry you're going to have to wait in line till they will see us, cause a mean man won't do this for your special day." "It's okay, mommy. He's just doing his job and doesn't know what to do." Me again, demonstrating where to go, lead her there and proceed to walk back to my till. I hear as I walk back she's calling me lazy, useless, pathetic, even a lazy Mexican, which I ignore because whatever, lady. Hours go by and my coworkers and I throughout the show are getting complaints that are burning in the show, which it was. It was a good 100 Fahrenheit outside and 88 Fahrenheit in the show, and where the gift shops are. We're all burning up and sweating, waiting till they fix the issue with the ACs. The venue's bar then called up all the gift shop crew to get a free slushie for the heat. So we all step in separate lines for guests and our free small slush. Who then enters a line? Karen. We're both next in our respected lines. I was the last one in the employee line, and as she's about to pay, she notices I get my slush while she has to pay. Instead of paying, she slides to the employee line and then it begins. She says, "I would like one slushie please, thank you, and make it large of course." The bartender tells her, "I'm sorry ma'am, these slushies are for the employees, as they deserve a treat for working in this heat. Well, I have a baby that's currently burning up from your bad AC. My baby is thirsty and dying." "Ma'am, you and your daughter get free drinks and bottomless refunds on drinks with admission."
"But it's not a slushie. I want a slushie right now or I will be reporting you to your manager."
The bartender then shrugs and goes back to mixing drinks as she notices me speaking to another bartender and storms up next to me. I then hear the typical Karen ahem. I roll my eyes and sigh. "Yes, my lady, how may I help you?" She points and demands,
"Give me your slushie now. My daughter deserves a free slushie and you can get one another time. Now hand it over."
Me sipping on my slushie while staring at her and raising an eyebrow. "Ma'am, I've already began drinking it, and I don't feel comfortable sharing something that already has my saliva. You can purchase one right there. These slushies are pretty cheap." She cuts me off.
"I don't care. You give me that slushie now, you ugly idiot."
Now, normally I don't care why you call me and have a huge amount of patience for nonsense, but today I was sleep deprived, hungry, hot, thirsty, and tired. I say, "Okay, listen you witch. How about before you call me ugly, you look at yourself first? I was originally gonna offer to get you one with my discount, but after that nonsense, you ain't getting anything. Now screw you and have a good day." As I'm walking away, I feel my hair getting yanked on really hard. Now, I have pretty long hair. This witch is yanking on my hair, screaming at me, demanding the slush and an apology. So I turned around and threw the slush all over her. As she's standing there cold, wet, and shocked, she then gives me the disc glare and proceeds to pounce at me, scratching my arm, face, and eyes. I shove her right into security who detain her, while she's yelling assault and saying she's gonna sue for throwing it on her. I step away, telling security about the little girl left alone in the show. As security escorts her out, I see the little girl walking by, giving me a sad yet apologetic stare. I feel so bad for the little girl, as she seemed like a sweet gal. She says, "I'm sorry for what my mommy did. I hope you didn't get hurt. She's always been like this. That's why I wish Daddy was the one that brought me here." I step away for a little and proceed to give her a slush to cheer her up, which makes her smile immensely, and she walks away with security. I don't know what happened after she was detained by security, since my GM gave me the rest of the day off and I left for home. If you want to know how much the slush was, it was $4. I work in technical theater design, and I was approached by a writer/producer to direct her show after I had been recommended to her by a mutual friend. Let's call her Jane. Jane had been working on this script for a couple of years, and it was her baby. The script was actually pretty good, and the cast she had already hired was awesome, so I agreed to do the job. The show had already begun rehearsals before I was hired, as the previous director had suddenly quit. After one rehearsal, I immediately realized why. Jane was an absolute nightmare. She had no idea what she was doing. She had never produced theater and knew nothing about any aspect of live events productions, blocking, lighting design, and so on. However, she also wanted to control and micromanage everything. A majority of my job ended up consisting of her freaking out about something I had done, then me spending 20 minutes explaining why it had to be done. The cast hated her and she made every rehearsal miserable. She wasn't interested in watching the scenes to see how good the actors were. She would spend every rehearsal buried in her script and getting upset each time an actor missed a word, or said them instead of they, or other minor easily fixable things. The only reason the cast stuck around is because this woman did have some industry contacts and she was inviting them all to the show. She constantly bragged about it and said she would share all her connections with the cast so they could benefit from the show. About 2 weeks before Tech Week, I realized she hadn't hired a lighting designer, booth operator, stage manager, or anyone at all to run the show. She had been expecting me to do it all once the time came. I almost quit on the spot, but I ultimately stuck in because the cast was so great, and I knew the show would never happen if I left. She'd never be able to do anything on her own. I ended up calling in a couple favors and somehow we got everything done. The show actually turned out great and the audience loved it. She had paid a guy to professionally film 2 performances and she really got great stuff on tape. After the show ended, the cast asked for a list of emails/numbers of the industry that was in attendance so their agents could follow up. Jane betrayed them and refused to share any information about her contacts. She said she didn't want them bothering people she knew. I was furious, so I sent her an email saying, "You need to share that list. It is what you promised. You owe it to them." She replied,
"This is no longer any of your business. Your job is done. I don't want you to do anything related to the project ever again."
Cue the malicious compliance. 1 week later, she sent me an email. Apparently, she was trying to raise funding to do the show again and had entered the video she had recorded into a prestigious online theater festival. The audio did not turn out great in the recording. She realized that she didn't have any of the sound effects, the marked production script, the Q live show file, the projections, the plug-in notes, nothing. I had done all the work and had all the files. She had never even asked to see them before. If she wanted to replicate the show, she'd need these things. Otherwise, she'd have to pay someone to start from scratch. If she wanted to fix the audio, she'd need all the music and sound files. She demanded that I send her these things immediately, and I replied, "Per your previous instructions, I am not to do any more work on this project. My job is done." Then I deleted everything. She was royally pissed. Her realizing she had nothing tangible to remount her show almost made it worth 2 months of painful rehearsals. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.